Well, guys, this you're looking at right here, this is the Dell Latitude D630. And bear in mind, it is 12:36 in the morning, or technically, I should say, 0:36. That was my bad. Yeah, unfortunately, we use 12-hour time format at work, so I have to unfortunately, I have to keep back translating between the two. Now, you're probably wondering why the D630 is just sitting on the desk with a power supply on top of him. Well, he's not plugged in, as you can probably see. In fact, yep, power supply is right there. So, he's not plugged in, and I'm not actually going to... Well, I'll plug him in a later video, but... and you can see how slow he is, but I don't feel like plugging him in right now, but, so you'll see that later on, in a bit. I'm not sure when, because the project, it kind of epically failed. Actually, I'll tell you guys that story. So basically, as you guys know, this computer is, he's 11 years old. I picked him up from the clinic where I volunteer in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I'm sure I've told you about that hundreds of times on, several videos of mine. And so basically, at the time, I had told an acquaintance of mine at the clinic, you've probably seen him on a couple of my videos a time or two. But anyways, I told him that, hey, I'm looking for a D630, because this was actually prior to a friend of mine who had a Dell Latitude, oh my god, what was it? D610, I feel like. It was a Dell Latitude D610. This was around, this was 2009. Prior to that, my very first experience with a Latitude was one of these. It was a D630. It was my mother's. She used to have one. And she, let me borrow it, because that was back when I had the Inspiron 1525, and that I remember. We were away, and the power supply on the Inspiron had burnt out, so I needed a computer, because, back then, that was back during the whole AIM bit and all this stuff, and so I had needed a computer. So, she let me borrow the D630. And that was when I realized, I'm like, you know what? I want one of these. And then in 2012, I finally decided to retire the Inspiron, the Inspiron, if you guys are curious, because I probably have some videos on him. The Inspiron, he got donated to the clinic, I do believe, if I remember correctly. I do believe I donated him. In fact, actually I did. I think I have a video on that, when I donated him. So, I donated the Inspiron, well, much later. I kept the Inspiron for a while, but by that point, he had been suffering from the normal hinge weakness that all Inspirons of that time period, well, particularly the 1525's, suffered. So I knew that within a short time his display was going to give. So I said, you know what? I need a computer that does not have a failing display, because back then I did not know how to fix that. I do now know how to fix it, but I didn't know how to fix it back then. So I got the Latitude E6530. Now, after a while, I had forgotten about my desire to find a D630. Until in around 2014, I found one at the MIT flea market. And that was when I finally realized, oh my god, I've been wanting one of these for a long time. And so I just kept at it. So essentially, and that was also, I had seen my acquaintance from the clinic at the flea market, and I said, Mike, if you know of any D630's, or if you find them at the clinic, do you think you could hold one for me? And he says, yeah, sure. So, you know, and then I came back to the clinic from about a year hiatus because of my job, because my hours just weren't cutting it. So I was like, you know what, I can't do this, but I will come back when I can. And so, you know, I came back, and this little guy, Tam, I call him, he had been sitting there in the back room waiting for me to take him for about a year. So finally I did. I finally did. And I said, you know what? The hell with it. Despite his age, Dells have a tendency to be ageless. I'm going to run Windows 10 on this thing. And I did. This guy, he ran Windows 10 for a dang good long time, because I got this guy in November of 2016. It's now February, what's today's date? The 25th. Wow. I couldn't remember the date. Anyways, it was the 25th, or it is the 25th, rather. So for a while, I ran Windows 10, and I said, yeah, you know, this works great. I mean, Outlook 2016 always took like 5 minutes to open up, but, you know, I figured, the hell with it. You know, he's old, he's not going to be the fastest, he's not going to be the fastest computer in my fleet, and I took him knowing that. I took this old relic knowing that it wasn't going to be the fastest ship in the sea. But lately, I've noticed, as of, I would say, starting December of last year, actually, December, I can actually recall the date when this thing really started to slow down. And it was December 30th. Windows 10 was almost not even usable, and it was so slow it wasn't even freaking funny. I was like, oh my god, I have to do something. So I kind of, you know, left him sitting around, didn't really take him that much. So finally, on January 27th, I ended up installing Ubuntu 17.10, which he currently has right now. But as I said, I'm not gonna start him up because he's not plugged in, and it really wouldn't be very efficient for me to do so, because there's a lot of problems with this install, which when I talk about the next phase of this project, I will discuss that more when I show you guys some more stuff with this thing. But so Ubuntu 17.10 is practically just about as slow as Windows 10 is, and it's a new install, which really kind of sucks. It's a new install. It has maybe like 2 things on it. Like I think I installed GNOME Evolution, and then I think I also tried to install PowerShell Core 6, and that was just not working, and I could not figure out why, and it was kind of annoying me, actually. So I was like, you know what, this is really friggin' annoying. So even putting, you know, no offense to the Linux people, and I can understand if I get very heated comments on this video, but sometimes, you guys, Linux is not always a solution to everything. It doesn't always speed up a computer. Now, I will tell you, disclaimer, my Linux knowledge is a lot weaker than my Windows knowledge. I'm currently, learning Linux as we speak. So, what's going to happen is, so back on the 27th, I ended up with Ubuntu, but recently, a couple days ago, I downloaded a Gecko, which is a desktop, specifically a desktop distribution of Linux that's based off of the OpenSUSE project, which I'm going to attempt to install on this computer and see if that does anything useful for him, and see if he's able to run Windows, oh my god, wow. OpenSUSE Leap version 42.3, I think. So anyways, this is the story of the D630, basically. So, yes, I know, a lot of people would argue an 11-year-old computer, why do I even keep him around? Sentimental sake, mostly, and of course, history's sake, because it just shows the unending quality of Dell, like the remarkable agelessness property that seems to reside in every single freaking piece of hardware they ever created. And I have to say, argumentatively, even the newer ones, I mean, yeah, sure, there's flaws, there's bad batches, there's everything, but at least the D630 seems to have weathered the test of time, and here he is sitting on my desk. I have no clue anything about this guy's life prior to me getting a hold of him, but if I find anything else out in future, I'll tell you, but I don't think anyone else knows either. But anyways, I'm going to stop rambling at everyone's face at almost 0100, and I'm going to see you all in the next video.